Yesterday in your Truth Social, you called the Iranians crazy bastards.
True.
What is your response to critics who say that...
I don't care about critics.
What is your response to critics who say that it is your mental health that should perhaps be examined as this war continues?
I haven't heard that. But if that's the case, you're going to have more people like me, because our country was being ripped off on trade, on everything, for many years until I came along. So if that's the case, you're going to have more people. Dasha, go ahead.
I haven't heard that except for all the times that I went on TV and took the mocha test. Remember that? Man, woman, tomato, chair, recliner, cheeseburger. Hi again, everybody. It's now 5 o'clock in New York. Now, this is sad. And if it was a loved one speaking and behaving in these ways, it would be irresponsible to not have that uncomfortable conversation. Are they okay? But there are no men or women in white coats coming to save Donald Trump that we know of. Something semi-coherent these days, it's usually something aggressive and belligerent and unbecoming of the office of the presidency. That includes his Easter morning message posted on social media, bearing profanity that we're about to show you. Keep in mind, this is the only president we have. Quote, Tuesday will be power plant day and bridge day, all wrapped in one in Iran, and there will be nothing like it, 3 exclamation points. Open the fucking straight, you crazy bastards, or you'll be living in hell. Switching to all caps, just watch. Praise be to Allah, President Donald J. Trump. In caps. Some online impersonator. Americans of all political persuasions have started to ask the same question. What is up with Donald Trump? Congresswoman Ansari wrote this, quote, the 25th Amendment exists for a reason. The President of the United States is a deranged lunatic and a national security threat to our country, end quote. Those Democrats were not alone. This was a bipartisan reckoning. Former Republican Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene writing, quote, everyone in his administration that claims to be a Christian needs to fall on their knees and beg forgiveness from God and stop worshiping the president and intervene in Trump's madness. I know all of you and him, and he has gone insane, and all of you are complicit, end quote. Of all people, the right-wing conspiracy theorist Alex Jones.
This is not what we voted for. And we've never seen rhetoric out of presidents like this when we go to war, even before this war. This is really bad PR, folks. This is what I'm talking about, the way Trump's behaving. Way more erratic. His speech, is not coherent all the time. You can't deny this is happening. So this is a clown show, folks, and I'm really worried. I'm really, really worried about this.
Well, I think people are honestly, Nicole, really reluctant to admit how serious it's gotten. Why? Because if you admit that it's this serious, then you have to admit that our options are some things that we really don't want to do, but maybe need to do. Impeaching and removing the president of the United States, organizing the biggest mass turnout in American history to the polls, things that require a lot of work, things that really stress people out, maybe even invocation of the 25th Amendment. I'll add a caveat to that, which I'll mention in a second. But here's the fine point of it, Nicole. I mean this absolutely seriously. Donald Trump's worst days in his first term are now his everyday in his second term. The worst we saw of the man in the first term, we're now getting that constantly. It is measurably worse than it was then, and we need to take this moment extremely seriously. We are in the type of war that we worried Donald Trump would get us into with his recklessness, the type of thing that one wrong move could lead us into an even more serious conflict. Very, very serious responses need to be considered, but people are scared to do that. And I think Marjorie Taylor Greene points that out with the volume with which she calls out her former colleagues. Wake up, you guys, she is saying to them, this is really, really bad. And it is, Nicole. Now, look, the caveat that I was going to add about the 25th Amendment is we walked through the scenarios in the first term, and our fear is that it actually wouldn't save us from anything because Donald Trump has so many supplicants in Congress. If he was replaced, it would only be temporary. The Constitution basically punts it over to Congress, and Congress can overturn it, and likely that would happen with a Republican House and Senate. So Donald Trump would come back in, he would purge people, it could be a bloody purge. That's the type of thing that makes you worry about a second civil war. I mean that, and that's why cabinet members declined to do something like that in the first term. Those were their words. I don't want to start a second civil war, but something has to be considered. And if this Congress had the courage, that right remedy right now would be impeachment. And shy of that, the American people need to realize it's probably not going to be people of conscience in Washington that save them. It will have to be, once again, the people themselves, as Thomas Jefferson said. This will be, not hyperbole, the most important midterm election in American history. We always say that, but now we have a proof point here of Donald Trump acting so unhinged. People are talking about the 25th. It'll be up to Americans.